It's a little bit different. It's brought to you by Harry's and Shout. My name's Iain Chambers. I'm not going to shout here because you guys are going to do all the talking. We've got Jae1ee, we've got Stevie White, we've got Bateson. So Bateson, you're a content creator. Stevie is a sidekick on a podcast. And Jae1ee, you're also a content creator as well. How are you guys doing? You feeling good about this?
Great, yeah, feeling good.
I was until you started bullying me straight away.
Is he here? I've heard he's here as well.
Yes.
Do you know the main one?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Is he here, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, Jack's going to be on the show as well. Bates, I'm going to start with you. This is a unique thing, but yeah. I think it's really important, isn't it? I think we can all agree that talking about mental health as much as we possibly can, although it can be difficult at times, is important, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's brilliant. There's loads of different ways of doing it, and obviously with the scene that I'm in, a lot of people use gaming to do that, whether it be talking in chats or even playing games with their friends behind closed doors. Just getting them words out and starting conversation is a great way to do it.
Yeah, and what you guys are going to be doing today is you're going to be alongside TN25, who's also here as well. You'll be going up into a gaming room. You'll be sat next to a clinician from Shout who's just going to be talking you through your feelings as you're playing video games. Because apparently, statistically, men are more willing to talk about their feelings when they're distracted. Is that something that you can imagine being true, Jae?
Yeah. My friends are my clinicians, I would say. Every time we're on the game, it's just talking about life, especially when it's past 11 p.m. Yeah.
Stevie, you play Fortnite a lot. Well, you used to last time we spoke to each other.
Yeah, Fortnite and Rocket League, and playing those games makes me want a clinician as well. So, yeah, normally for me, I'd say the podcast is my therapy. So it's going to be nice to be in a situation where I get to talk to someone else that is nicer to me as well.
He's looking over there at Jaackmaate, who's actually waiting in the wings to get involved eventually. But I imagine the podcast is it a form of therapy at all?
Yeah, it's weird because I think on there we kind of forget there's cameras on and that it's all recording, and we say things we probably shouldn't say, and we should just leave for behind closed doors. But it's nice to get it out sometimes, and I've probably been more emotional in the podcast studio than I have anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I've referred to it, but obviously it's the Happy Hour podcast, one of the best podcasts out there, right?
Well, you've said it, so I'm going to take it.
I mean, I did hear you guys ask Bateson what he listens to when he goes out on a walk, and you were hoping that he said your podcast. He actually listens to Radio 1, so sorry about that, guys.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that, because health is a big part of it. I know that you've been on quite a journey. You're an EAFC content creator, we'll get to that, but you've been on a bit of a mental and physical health journey over the past few years, right?
Yeah, so back in December 22 or 23, I can't remember what it was now, it was that long ago. I broke my back. I needed that wake-up call, so I spent a full year getting a bigger guy and wasn't able to do anything that I wanted to do. So I was given the green light in December last year to get moving again. So I decided to do a full year of walking every single day for 1 hour. And we're at day 324 today, and didn't realise it was a leap year, so they've got an extra day out of me, luckily. So yeah, looking forward to it, enjoying it, and just getting that hour of talking to myself, listening to radio, and being away from everything is amazing.
And what difference has it made? Because you've lost a lot of weight as well, right?
Yeah, coming on to the 10 stone mark now, which is mental.
On.
Yeah,
that's class.
Absolutely mental. Never visioned that I would ever get down there, but starting today rather than doing it another day, that's what I needed to do, and I've done it. And me posting about it hopefully is inspiring others to get on their own journey as well, because walking, not very glamorous, but it does do the job if you do it right.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's the weight loss side of things, but also what it does for your mental health. I guess it's a chance to step away from the rush of life and take some time to yourself. Stevie, I know that you have just started up your own Instagram account, Stevie Fitness 11, isn't it?
Stevie 11 Fitness.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I've only lost 3 stone, so I'm nowhere near on this level. But yeah, I find when I'm at the gym, I just go completely kind of blank in my mind, and it's such a nice place to just be able to do what I want to do. I don't ever sit alone with my own thoughts, because you don't want to know what's going on in there. You'll probably find out today. But normally I'll just put on an audiobook and just kind of, sort of smash out a gym session, and it makes me feel so much better, and I'll never feel bad for going. Even on those days where I don't really feel like doing it, I'll never regret going.
Yeah. Jay, do you agree?
100%.
Well, of course he does. Look at it.
I was going to say, this guy goes to the gym.
Yeah, 100%. I would say my life started again once I started going to the gym. I was just going through a lot of just struggles mentally. Just everyone around me wasn't really looking at me the same. I wasn't looking at myself like I wanted. So the gym was definitely the go-to where it all started. Not so much on the nutrition part. It was just get into the gym. Just get into the gym, and that's where it started.
How much are you guys, do you think, willing to open up a little bit to that? Bateson?
Well, we're not paying for this, are we? So I'll tell him everything.
Make the most of it.
How deep are you going to go, Steve? Because I've known you for quite some time, and you're too quick to crack a gag. Are you going to be up there joking, or are you going to actually get into it?
I don't know. I really, really struggle with emotion. I don't know if I can sit down and just speak to someone and open up. So I'm going to see how it goes. I'm going to try my best and try not to be funny. But, well, I do that quite well normally.
All right, well, this is, like I said, brought to you by Harry's and, of course, Shout, the mental health charity. Let's just talk about and look at first how Shout works.
Are you feeling stressed, depressed, or struggling to cope? Shout is a free and confidential text messaging service for anyone in the UK who needs support. It's silent, anonymous, and available 24/7. To start a conversation, text the word SHOUT to 85258. You'll receive an automatic reply before being connected to one of our trained volunteers who will listen without judgment to how you're feeling. The Shout volunteer will introduce themselves and ask you to share what's on your mind. You might be feeling lonely or struggling with a relationship. Perhaps you're anxious about university or work, or you're having suicidal thoughts. Whatever's troubling you, Shout is here to listen. Conversations usually last between 45 and 60 minutes as you text back and forth with the volunteer. The goal is to help you reach a calm and safe place with a plan for how you will support yourself going forwards. Shout, here for you 24/7.
Yeah, shout out to Shout, no pun intended. Like, the work that the volunteers do is so vital, because that instantaneous response, if you are feeling low, anxious, depressed, whatever it is vital and sometimes life-saving, isn't it? And I think over the last couple of years, for me personally, I really feel like I've started to see the conversations around mental health really growing and getting better and more accepted for men as well. I don't know if you've noticed that, Bateson, but I feel like talking about your mental health is becoming a little bit more prominent these days.
Yeah, so I'm like an old school now. I'm 38, and I was one of the kids growing up where you were told to keep quiet, and you bottled everything up. But then it does get to a stage, and there is some time in your life where it'll all come out, and it'll come out in ways that you don't want. Now, I have sought professional advice in the past, and their main advice to me was to open up and talk, even if it's a little conversation, whether it be a family member, a work friend, or even some of your close friends. Do it, because it'll make you feel 10 times better. And unfortunately, with my streams now, they've got to put up with me spewing my guts out through the day, and maybe they don't want to hear some of it, but it definitely helps me to get it out there, so it's nice to do it that way.
Yeah, I think there is a misconception around therapy that you need to dig and go deep into these dark places that sometimes don't exist. And I've had therapy during the pandemic, and sometimes it was just a light session of just half an hour having a conversation with a therapist, and it would make me feel so much lighter and better that I'd just spoken to somebody. And I think just sometimes talking about your feelings, just saying them out loud, can be a big difference, Jay.
Yep, 100%. During the pandemic especially, everyone's indoors, Yeah. I found that my household, everyone was in their own room, and the only way we would connect was through gaming, getting into a call while we're all under the same roof. But having those conversations were very important, because during the pandemic, I was 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going into uni, not really seeing the same faces again, I'm not with my friends every day. Some connections were lost, connections that I did think to myself at the time that I was going to stay with. But, having those conversations actually led to me helping, improve, and then realize that, okay, I can't go to the gym.
Yep.
Some push-ups at home will work, so, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we can talk down here, and while we do, it's time to get into the gaming room for the very first time. TN is standing by with our first clinician for our very first Talk Squad session. Let's get into it.
Thank you very much, Iain. I'm joined by Atalante. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's good to be here.
Good to have you here as well. Now, obviously, Shout, a big initiative. You yourself, obviously, are with Shout. How long have you been with them for?
Since the very beginning. I think it's been 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe more.
That's a long time. And what inspired you to kind of, really get into this and sort of really just break down people's kind of mental health?
This was my training. My training was in psychotherapy. And when Shout started, it was just a mental health / technology startup, which I found very intriguing, being able to reach people via technology. And so I thought I'd give it a chance, and it's been a great journey so far.
Nice. Well, 6 years, so
yeah.
Not complaining. Right, we're not going to speak too much more. I'm going to leave it to you. You ready to play some Fall Guys?
Yeah, let's play.
Let's get into this. Classic games, baby.
Are we doing a knockout?
Ooh, I think you're on a...
Or classic
Yeah,
games?
classic games, I think.
Got it. Duos.
Are we in the same... I don't think we're in the same party.
Oh.
So let's just do solos. And then we'll go from there.
Okay.
We'll probably end up in the same game anyway. Match found with 32 players. Have you played Fall Guys before?
I did earlier this morning.
Oh, nice. How'd you find it?
Quite fun.
Yeah?
It's very cute.
It is. It's a nice game. It's a very smooth game, very simple game. I like it. It's a nice, relaxing game. But sometimes it does get very stressful. I'm going to be very honest.
Right.
It does get a bit stressful. Right. Here we go. We're in. Oh, I think we're actually in the same game. Nice. All right. I'm going to leave you to work your magic. Locked in. I'm locked in. Race to the finish. They put me at the back. No.
So what made you join this session today?
I just, it's just nice to speak about, mental health, speak about different things. I feel like sometimes I'm quite open as a person, but like at the same time, sometimes I can be a bit closed off with certain things, or like it might be a bit difficult to mention certain things. Like I do speak to my friends quite a bit. I can't get up here, what's going on? I do speak to my friends quite a bit, but there's some things like you feel like you can't say, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I genuinely can't get up here. What's happening?
I can't get up there either. Yay.
There we go. Someone knocked me up. I might be knocked out.
I'm going the wrong way.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Now we're talking.
So you feel more comfortable talking to certain people, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I definitely have. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm out. I definitely feel more comfortable talking to certain people for sure. I think it's one of those things where
Yeah, I'm up.
sometimes I feel the vibe, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm up.
I mean, that's absolutely standard, isn't it?
Yes.
We all do that.
I made it. Two bounces. I think if you do 2 bounces on there, you're good. Ooh. 2 bounces. 1. Ooh. Move back a bit. There you go. There you go. There you go. Oh, there you go. There you go. We're moving now, baby. Ooh.
Almost.
Keep going, keep going.
Right. Yeah, you were right when you said this is stressful.
Yeah, I did. That's to be fair.
How do you deal with stress?
So, right now, if I'm honest, it's not a good habit, but I tend to work. Like
Okay.
that's the best way I deal with stress. Or sometimes, like I have been using lately gaming as like a massive escape.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, because I just feel like, the game, I can do well on a game. It's not going to affect me. Do you know what I mean? Like if I win, if I lose, it doesn't really matter, kind of thing. But yeah, I've definitely been using gaming as like an escape, just to like, kind of deal with stuff that I'm dealing with, like maybe like outside of work, if it's family or if it's like sports or if it's whatever it may be. I'm using gaming as like escapism. Oh, you know what? I'm going to leave here. I think there's a way for me to invite you. So if you back out, exit.
Yep.
And then we can exit again. Yes, I definitely have been using gaming as an escape for me personally. I think, don't get me wrong, I'm not unhappy or anything, but like for me, it's just easier to like just play games and not necessarily think about stuff outside of what's going on, sort of thing. Whereas like, yeah, sometimes, I don't know, facing the truth can be a bit hard, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So
It's not always the right time to face an issue.
yeah, I think that's what it is as well. Sorry, can I just grab that off you? Yeah, so it's not necessarily easy to like face an issue for sure. Ooh. There we go.
Thank you.
Right, we are on the same team now. Perfect. So let's ready up. Yeah, so like I was saying, it's not as easy to like face an issue. It's just a bit. What's happening here? Ah, there we go. It's not connecting. What's happening? It's not letting me close it. There we go. Should be working now, hopefully. I don't think the pad's working right now.
Maybe I can watch you.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
Yeah.
That could work too. Right. If that's the case, then I think I'm going to need to leave the lobby.
How do you find that gaming helps you cope in stressful situations?
I think for me, I've been a gamer all my life, really. So where it's easy for me to like, especially with like in links to like my childhood, it's easy for me to be like, wow, well, I played games all my life. And when I was young, I wasn't really thinking about it. So it's like, I'm just playing games, going to school, coming back, playing games, and life, it was a simpler time for me. Whereas like when you get older, you're adulting, more things to do, like bills to pay, all that sort of stuff kind of comes into it. So
Yeah.
I think for me, when I'm like gaming in that aspect, it kind of takes me back to a time where it was a bit simpler for me. So like, it's definitely escapism, don't get me wrong. But I think that's kind of the way that I associate myself with it. It's just like, it's a bit easier for me to kind of play stuff like FIFA or EAFC or like Call of Duty and just escape from reality. And sometimes it can get a bit much, but you know, I can openly admit that, if that makes sense. Yeah, definitely.
No, it's definitely an amazing ability to be aware of it. And since you know what makes you feel calmer and, you know, more in touch with, you know, the playful side of it.
Yeah.
And you can do that. That's great.
But I think sometimes it can be, I don't know, sometimes I'm a bit afraid that it's a bit too much, because I'm like, am I doing a bit too much, or am I like doing enough? Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but like when you say too much, what do you think you should be doing instead?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I love gaming, so it doesn't really feel like too much to me. But then sometimes, like maybe to like others, it might be no, don't drop. It might be a bit much. Ooh, I think I just got boosted. So there is that, but I don't think it's too much.
But why would it matter what others think?
That is true. I mean, I don't think it matters what others think, but I think like sometimes you can sort of forget about reality when you are gaming as much as I think I game sometimes.
So it impacts your life?
To an extent. I wouldn't say like 100%, but it does impact my life sometimes, because I feel like I could be doing other stuff, but I'm like, oh, I'd much rather game. Do you know what I mean? So there is that. That sometimes I feel like I deal with, but yeah.
But I think if it starts impacting you to an extent that it's a problem, then it would be the time to try and change it. If it doesn't become a problem for you, then there's no reason to change it.
Yeah, that is true. But I think, I don't know, sometimes it's like, I wouldn't say it's an internal battle, but I think sometimes I'm like, should I? I don't know. It's just a weird feeling, I think, for me. It's just like, maybe I'm holding on to something that I shouldn't, not that I shouldn't be, but maybe I should let go, kind of thing. Like, I think games has always had its place in my heart, and I do love games, but sometimes I'm like, maybe it's a bit too much. I don't know. That's just how I feel at times. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's a massive problem, but I think sometimes, I don't know if it's me like masking a problem that I have, if that makes sense, or if it's just me just wanting to play a game, really. I think that's where the issue is.
Yeah.
But I don't think so, but again, I could never know.
I don't think this is something we can ever be able to explore in the 15 minutes we've got together. But I would say that there seems to be a meaty subject that you could explore if you ever wanted to.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely something I should look into.
Yeah.
But for now, I just love games, man.
But if you love something and it makes you happy,
yeah,
because it's linked to a simpler time, and you're not hurting anyone or yourself by doing it.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Why would you stop?
That is true. But sometimes I do feel like maybe I could make better use of my time.
Yeah, but according to who?
Okay, no problem. What was I going to say? According to... Depends. I think my parents sometimes.
Okay.
My parents can be like, oh, you spend a lot of time playing game.
So it's not about what you think about your life, it's about what other things.
Oh, now we're getting deep.
Well, no, all I'm trying to say is...
Yeah, I definitely think it's about... I wouldn't say people pleasing, but it's kind of like...
Expectations.
Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? I've got like expectations of like things that I feel like I need to achieve or people are expecting of me, and it's like all I want to, like, kind of using game to escape that sort of reality almost. And I think that's where the difficulty lies, because like, well, I want to be that person that was young again, that was like, that didn't have as many responsibilities. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure we all do, literally. But yeah, that's literally what it is, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, I think part of adulting is sort of understanding which responsibilities you actually want to take on and which ones you can just leave behind because you just don't care enough.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But I think it's just about gauging what works and what doesn't, and going from there. I think I've been knocked out. But I think that's my 15 minutes done. Atalante, thank you so much for your time.
Lovely speaking with you.
You too. And I'm going to send it right back to you, my boy Iain.
Cheers, T. That was good. It was nice to see, these guys talking to each other, and actually TN getting stuck in and getting involved in it in a serious way. Straight away, he was right in there with the feels, wasn't he, Stevie?
Yeah, he's made me nervous for doing mine now, because I don't want to let the team down, but I'm a rock. I don't know how to talk, and I get nervous when it's meant to be emotional, but I've got my crutch next to me now, so I'm feeling much better.
Why do you keep calling yourself The Rock? You've worked out for about 2 months, and suddenly he's like, I'm The Rock! You're a pebble.
Not my crutch.
I'm so happy that Jack's here now, because Jay, literally, when Jack sat down, Jay was like, it's going to get good now, we're still next to each other. These two.
Yeah.
Is it weird not being in the traditional studio with mics on?
Well, I was going to say that, but then normally in the studio it's me getting bullied quite a lot, and I thought it's going to be lovely to be out of the studio, have a nice conversation, and he started with that.
More of the same.
I feel like your therapy is going to be something along the lines of, I need to talk to you about Jack.
I'm in a really volatile work environment. My boss bullies me.
That 15 minutes is the only 15 minutes you've ever had without me in about the last year. That's why he's doing this. I'm here for the guild hoodie as well. Do you still do them?
Do we still do them?
Guild hoodie?
I'll have a look. I think I've got about 15 somewhere.
I promised the hoodie.
I'll sort you out.
Thank you.
Jack, welcome.
Pleasure.
How long have you two known each other now?
Oh, I've known you for years.
Since we were 18, so 13 years.
Yeah, but even before that, we went to school, because I remember your little picture on the
You went to
book.
school?
We went to the same first school together. So, yeah, many, many years.
Yeah, and then we sort of drifted apart, and then we came, and then fate had us back together, didn't it? I needed a Batman costume for a sketch, and I put a little Facebook post out. He replied. He's been a fan for a long, long time.
I did not reply. A friend of mine said, I know someone who's got one.
Yeah.
And I had that Batman costume, so we met outside of Wetherspoons, and now look at us.
Yeah.
You two are like two peas in a pod, super tight. So there must be times, look, I know you have a lot of fun, you take the mickey out of him a lot, but I imagine when it comes to crunch time and maybe things happen in your life where you need someone to talk to you, I feel like you're going to make a joke out of this anyway.
No.
But do you go to him?
Yeah. I'll call you up and say, like, have you got Alfie's number? And no.
We have had way too many deep chats.
No, we've had deep chats. We've had deep chats on the pod. We've had deep chats off the pod. We've had deep chats at mine, yours.
Playing Fortnite, weirdly.
Yeah.
We play a lot of Fortnite together, but we did, and then it's a great chance for us to talk together.
Yeah.
And again, he's much nicer to me off camera.
No, it does genuinely help when you have a distraction and you can play a game and whatnot. You kind of not. You're kind of not even really thinking about what you're saying. You're saying the truths and stuff that needs to be said, but it's not at the forefront of your mind. You're sort of, the distraction really helps. There is some kind of comedy in like the little Fall Guy beams going woo when you're talking about something serious. Woo! It's quite funny.
Oh, I need to talk to you about my nan.
That sounded like my nan, actually. Yeah.
Jay, do you? What games do you play?
So mainly Valorant, Dragon Ball anime related games.
Yeah.
games that are currently trending. So I'll play like some Fall Guys, some Apex from time to time.
Yeah.
Whatever just shows up on my feed.
Do you jump in parties and stuff with your mates, or do you just lock in on your own?
Nah, with my mates all the time. All the time.
Do you have your own Stevie, like who you can go to and talk to?
I think I am the Stevie.
Oh, you're the Stevie.
Yeah.
I am so sorry.
Yeah.
I am really, truly sorry.
Yeah, it is what it is, you know. But
You're much better looking.
thank you.
I agree.
But they're watching, and they know that jokes aside, I do rely on them for some sanity because I'm just so immersed with like work, because they don't do the same things that I do. So when I go to them, they're just super supportive. They understand, and when we're gaming, when they're not actually telling me that I suck at the game, they're actually decent people that I can count on.
That's great.
Not that I'm still thinking about it, but notice when he said you're much better looking, he just said thank you. No. That's fine. No, I've got something to talk about now, haven't I?
He's not going to battle that one.
No.
Look, I want to give a shout out to Harry's, by the way, one of the partners that are putting this together with Shout. And by the way, if you want to get involved with Shout and maybe take part in a session like this with yourself and a clinician, then you can do so by going to check out Shout's social media, and all the details will be there. But Harry's, you had a shave recently, Steve?
I think you've come to the wrong guy, haven't you?
Yeah.
No, I have to shave my neck quite a lot. People don't realise that with a beard, you've still got to put some effort in.
Yeah.
Haven't today.
Okay.
Well, don't worry about that.
Do it live right
Just
now.
shave my neck and my face.
I'll do it for you.
Yeah, that would be great content.
Yeah.
As long as I can talk to you about my feelings whilst we do it.
Yeah, I'm here to
We
listen.
could blend it all together.
But in all seriousness, though, I actually do find this going to sound like a weird thing to say. I find grooming really therapeutic.
Oh, it is.
It really is.
Yeah, it's lovely. I normally just put on something on TV and I'm just watching on my phone whilst I'm just doing it. It's nice just to get some alone time and just chill and sort yourself out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a bubble bath every day.
Do you actually?
You wouldn't think it looking at me, but I do.
You look like a shower guy to me.
Never a shower guy, except after football, so once a week I am.
All right, so here's a question. Let's say you've just played football, or you've gone on a long run, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you get a bit muddy, you get a bit dirty. Are you getting straight in the bath, or are you washing off the dirt and then getting in the bath?
I know the correct answer, but I get straight in the bath and just surround myself by mud and horrible stuff.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, while we sit here and imagine Shrek in a swamp, you can get yourself back into our gaming room. It's time for another session.
Thanks, Iain. So we are here, ready to play some Fall Guys.
How you doing?
And talk about our emotions.
Yes.
Well, my emotions specifically.
Absolutely. You've already told Iain that you're quite prepared to lay it all bare.
Accidentally, but
I'm here to listen.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to talk, and any questions which I can answer hopefully can help some people out there as well who are looking to learn the same.
That'd be really good. I laid out from the off that if I do lose, it's because I've been perfectly told to throw the game.
Okay.
So whatever happens, you've won.
Well, there's my excuse gone.
There you are.
So what I was told was the same one, but you've taken that now. So what I'm blaming is the lighting in the room.
Get your own.
Yeah.
Get your own.
No, I'm all right at this game. It's this game gives me memories to lockdown, which was for a lot of people a very difficult time. But this game was a lot of fun playing with different people, and I think a lot of friendships were created through this game as well within the scene that I do.
That's really good. You mentioned lockdown there. I can call you Jamie, can't I?
You can. Yep.
Please don't be offended by using your formal name, Jamie. But tell me about that, because one of these things that people always think computers are bad things, and I want to know how it really helped you and how it helps tuning into games like this that has served its purpose for you and helped you in a way, because I think it's really positive.
So one of the things I do for people which don't know me is I live stream on Twitch on a daily basis. So I have the daytime. The daytimes are my main times to stream. So when lockdown came around, a lot of people were left not knowing what to do with themselves, being stuck at home. Maybe they didn't have friends or family which were in the same household. So it became like a forum for people to chat away between themselves or with me if they wanted to do that as well. But I did feel like it made it a lot easier for people being able to come over to the streams themselves. Yeah.
So what I heard then is you were talking about isolation, and I guess I'm really interested in that because I think exactly you just touched on it, how games like these, even when you're not floating through the air like I am, can help you feel less isolated. And I think it's something about as we, as certainly clinicians at Shout and everything what we do, we help people feel less isolated and more connected. Is that something that you felt when you were doing this then through lockdown?
Yeah. I would be not only talking to people in the stream all the time, but then I would be obviously finishing the stream because you can't stream for 24/7. And obviously I've got family members as well, and also my own friends. So we were still gaming. I try not to get frustrated. These people like flinging me off.
Let's keep it professional and try not to get too frustrated.
There we are.
One of the things you talked about as well, other than isolation, is your friends and family, and sometimes I'm pretty sure it's not always that easy to talk to friends and family. And I'm wondering how your experience of logging onto something like this, or talking to someone who you can't actually see face to face.
Yeah.
What do you think that's like, or what's your experience of that being somewhere you can't talk to friends and family, but you have got other people you can connect with? What's that like?
Well, I think if you go into that with that thinking, it can probably be quite off-putting. But one of the best things I found is talking to people when you're distracted. You're more open accidentally, but you don't realise that it does actually help you as well.
Something about not making eye contact with people, so something like a forum like this or something like Shout where you're not actually making eye contact and talk about something that's quite maybe difficult or challenging.
Yeah, well, I'm a very awkward person in real life. I may not seem it, but eye contact for me is very difficult anyway. So it's very rare that people get eye contact off me, but it's that animosity that you have as well, and obviously you guys at Shout offer that as well with the way that you contact yourselves, and it can be very helpful for people not to put a face to who they're speaking to. Yeah. So it's like they're talking to a brick wall, but this brick wall can actually help you, type of thing.
And I guess I know we talked about this earlier, it's about that level of making a connection, isn't it? It's akin to something like where you could tell somebody something and all of a sudden there'll be a big sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Even though you might not necessarily know the person or the individual, but physically actually getting it out there. And like you say, if I'm not looking at someone talking about something quite difficult or challenging, I'm concentrating on these little tic-tac things that we're running around.
Well, you have to concentrate on my little tic-tac things because you distracted yourself here and you're knocked out. Yeah. So now you're going to have to watch me. Now, luckily, I didn't point this out, but I'm actually a world champion at this game.
Is there a scan button? Is there something on here?
You can watch my behind. To be fair, I've never played this level. This should be interesting.
Well, it gives me a chance to chat a bit more to you. Did you die? I just want to point that straight. Yeah. Did you die straight away? Fair enough.
Yeah. So this one's an interesting level, and I think I'm going to have to go over there.
In your experience, then, Jamie, what sort of things would you find, or maybe the people that follow you find difficult to chat around that would be helpful for something like this or Shout? What would some of those things be?
So can you say again? I'm getting pushed and pulled around.
The game. Someone got hold of you. Yeah. Just, I guess, in your experience of using game to chat and to not have necessarily eye-to-eye contact, what are some of your things that may be quite difficult for people to chat to you, maybe that you've experienced on your live stream as well, that people have chatted to you about?
Look, honestly, the conversations which people have had with me on my streams, which they definitely wouldn't have had in real life, including myself, like I get a lot of answers from my chat when I probably wouldn't ask anyone in real life. Like I have my fiance of 12 years, probably should be married by now, but we're not. I've got my 2 kids as well. But I would much rather ask someone who I don't know face to face, which is people in the stream themselves.
And is that just about the topic, or is that, or maybe it's both, or is that something about the anonymity around not knowing who it is, but so it does look like a voice to a no face? And that makes
it's a mixture of both. I think it makes if you have someone who knows you, and you maybe think it's a stupid thing to talk about, and if I was to ask Natalie something stupid, she'd laugh at me sometimes. Not on purpose, but it's just one of them things. Yeah. Whereas if you ask someone on the stream, they might laugh at you, but then it's forgotten about, and you might get an answer from it as well.
So there's no judgment or anything there?
There's not, no.
And I think certainly one of my experiences as a clinician is that there are no stupid things. It's just something about having that cathartic sense of being able to open up and speak about it. And furthermore, most people go, oh, I've done that. Yeah. I've felt that. So when you get that sense of, it's not just me, it's Jamie, it's other people, there's a bit more of connectivity and a bit more, it's not just about me thinking that, it's about, perhaps it's a wee bit more common than what we think.
Yeah, like one of my sayings within my streaming community and any streams I've been in, because we've been talking about mental health feels like going on a decade now.
Good man.
Within the streams, and one of I think it's one of my emotes, and we've talked about it numerous times. Is it's okay not to be okay, and people. It all starts with talking. So if you can talk to anyone, whether it be family member, friend, maybe it's somebody you play pro clubs with, which is I've seen a lot of people do, and a lot of friendships are made through it as well.
And there's something for me about, I'm not sure whether you agree, something about normalising it. That it's okay not to be okay, normalising that you are not the odd one out, or the freak, or the whatever you want to call it, that just because you're struggling with that, chances are a lot of people have been through that, and if you dare to talk about it, it gives that opportunity for other people to say, well, that sounds pretty rough, Jamie,
yeah, exactly.
or, I've been where you are, this helped me, or that helped me, and then maybe get some ideas on how to work through that, rather than perhaps people, before you start to talk to them, would just sit on the room and talk about it, ruminate on it, and not talk about it, not chat about it. And then that's not good, is it, when we've got stuff in our head? We all know that sometimes the initial conversation is difficult, but the outcome is a lot better than just sitting it with them.
Well, I've had the situation where, because I'm 30, I don't mind people knowing. You can probably tell by the wrinkles and.
I'm not telling you how old I am. That's just rude.
No, you actually told me before, but I won't expose you on stream. All good. It's back in the day. You were told to be quiet, keep it bottled up. No one cares. But unfortunately, that saying has ruined a lot of lives, because you do bottle it up. You don't tell people, but then it starts coming out in ways that you don't want, that other people don't expect, and it can cause a lot of friction, upset, and mental health issues. So it did get to the stage for myself when I was 18, it all did start coming out, and I had to get, didn't have to, but chose to get therapy through my workplace. And that was something I didn't really want to do, but I actually really, really enjoyed it, because it was the first time someone wanted to listen to me rather than me being told to be quiet. And ever since then, even just having that 10 to 15 minutes every couple of weeks, it got to the stage where I was happily to talk to my family about things, talk to Natalie about things, and other people in my life about things. And it's probably why I'm so open on my streams as well, is because keeping it bottled up is going to cause issues, you know. So. And
that's what we need, Jim. We need people to. It's all right when you're a mental health nurse like me. That's my bread and butter.
Yeah.
But we need people like yourself that are quite happy to sit there, be open and honest. Not necessarily cheat on games just so you do better than me. We'll say less about that.
I think I'm in the final, by the way.
And yeah, you are. I've already clocked that. I think, so I've been sat here for the last 20 minutes doing nothing. But there's something about people like yourself really owning that, saying, it's okay to not be okay, like you were saying earlier, and get help and support, because fundamentally we know that things will do get better if you do open up about it. And, that's what we do at Shout. We are there for people 24/7, 365, so anybody can get in touch with us. You won't have to play any games like this, thank goodness. But what you do have to do is just be open and honest, and that's all we're about. And we're just there to listen to people. And it sounds like rocket science, doesn't it? You say you've experienced that yourself, just opening up and talking to people. It's not rocket science. It's just telling people where you are and where you're at.
Yeah, that's it. And even if it's a little bit of time that you can offer to do so, maybe you do want to speak to someone who you don't really know, and start that. But it'll open up a lot of things in the rest of your life, with your friendship groups, your family as well, and just getting that ball rolling it is absolutely unreal.
So prior to you speaking, and I hope you don't mind me asking, so prior to you speaking to whoever you spoke to, a clinician or whatever, was that something you did, Joe? Did you hold it inside, and it, because as we know, these things can just seep out in other aspects of our life. Is that something you did before?
I did, yeah. It was, family didn't really want to understand what I was going through. Friends didn't either. I think it was at that age where everyone was drinking, obviously the 18-year-old side of things. So it was easier just to brush over it and ignore it. But then we found that obviously everyone needs to talk. And we did, I did, and actually found out there was quite a few people in my life who did want to listen, even though initially I thought they probably didn't.
And I think sometimes that's the misconception, thinking that people don't want to listen. And sometimes it's easier speaking to a stranger than it is to a parent or a sibling, because sometimes we don't want to upset them, we don't want them to hear some maybe dark things or things that we're thinking about or whatever. So it can be easier. It can be easy talking to a complete stranger and just opening up about what's going on inside. And Again, for me, it's something I've experienced working where I do about those people having that big side and thinking, oh, thank goodness I've been able to speak to somebody about that. It doesn't feel a secret anymore. It doesn't feel something I've got locked away.
Yeah.
It feels something that it almost takes the power out of it, I think, doesn't it, speaking about it?
Yeah, that's it.
And it sounds like you've experienced that.
Yeah, I think I've just oh my god, I am not a world champion for no reason. There we are. I was getting distracted, but but I'm happy talking about it. But just so you guys saw that was for you. Right. But yeah, I as much as I was distracted, then it is. I spend my streams playing games and getting used to playing games and talking, and it's a place where even if you don't want to talk, you can type. That's a way of talking these days with mobile phones and technology out there. And even if it's not under your official name on a Twitch chat, which people will be watching the streams on now, you can just ask questions away. There'll be people out there who've been through plenty of similar experiences to yourself. And I absolutely love Twitch and the community and any streaming platforms out there, having a community which you can chill and chat and get your feelings out when maybe you are in a lonely spot.
Yeah.
It is unreal, and doing some things which a lot of people play now, which is video games.
Yeah. Because I can guess this hasn't been too onerous, and we're obviously talking in front of a lot more people than what we would if we were texting it shout. And this has been. I mean, you've absolutely fleeced me on the game.
I'm going to set a challenge for every other person who comes here. If you can do that, I'll give you a high five. But I've got the win. I've enjoyed talking to you again.
My friend. Thank you for giving us your time. I really appreciate it.
And we're going to throw back to Iain.
Oh, I tell you what, that's a brag, that, isn't it? What a flex! You're sat in there with a clinician talking about all your feelings, and you managed to come out on top. Unreal, love it. It's International Men's Day, by the way, so that is the big reason why we're doing this today. And I do want to give a shout out to all the unsung heroes that are the mental health experts that are doing this every single day. So shout out to you, T. You joined us now after your session. You weren't as successful on the game.
No, I got knocked out.
But how was it?
No, it was good. It's proper interesting to just kind of just have that space to open up, and you kind of naturally just find yourself wanting to say more. Like I don't know, it just kind of was just flowing out of me, and I just couldn't kind of stop, if that makes sense.
Do you think that's what it's about? It's like once you start, that's it. You're in.
Once you're open enough to be forward with how you feel and obviously your mental health and things along of that nature, then naturally it just kind of all spirals out, because sometimes you might be holding it for so long that it just comes out all at once, and it kind of just was happening there.
Yeah, it's cool. One of the things that Bateson touched up on there that I thought was good was the eye contact thing, because I think that is something that a lot of us, I guess, maybe subconsciously are aware of, but it's that when you are talking about your feelings, I'm doing it with you right now, I'm trying to lock in.
You've got lovely eyes.
You too, Jack. It's like, can you do it? Is it something that you experience, Jack? Can you maintain eye contact when you're trying to, I guess, talk?
It's weird. It's a weird one, because for my job, I interview people all the time, and I think that's one of my strong points is the eye contact and stuff. But when it comes to talking about my feelings and stuff, that is probably an area I could be better on. I almost go the other way, and I just can't look, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. I think maybe. I'm 31 now, and I think in recent years, mental health has been something that's been encouraged and to talk about. But perhaps when I was younger, it wasn't always at the forefront of people's minds. So, my dad's generation definitely did not get encouraged to talk about this stuff. So I think it's going through that transition of trying to learn to open up. Hopefully, if we keep doing things like this and with these great initiatives. The next generation of kids will be even better, and then even better, and it will just get to a point where it's just the norm, 100%.
Yeah, because ultimately the end result is the older you get, the more you've been through. As well. So there's if you don't start, I guess, younger talking about it, then it is going to build and build. Because if you only start, I guess, talking when you get into the later years, it might cause some problems there, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. Personally, not to get personal and open up right now, but in my family, I've seen people hold it in, older generation, it's all about just suck it up and everything will be all right, just do the work. And I'm seeing that with my family, my cousins, people of my age, where, communicating with each other. How's work? How have you been this week? And it goes a long way. It does go a long way. So yeah, like you said, with these initiatives, I think it's great that we can start speaking more about how we feel, because as men, we don't really, speak too much about it. We're always seen as just be strong. You'll be all right. Just suck it up. But I do feel like, yeah, we should start speaking to each other a little bit more. Yeah, I think it's just great.
I do, and I agree with you guys. I think the initiative is absolutely brilliant, and a big part of that is, of course, the mental health charity that is Shout, and their volunteers, of course, they do it for free. And here's a bit more about them.
Hello. Hey. I'm Ben. I'm a mental health campaigner, and I've been a Shout volunteer for a year and a half now. What about you?
So my name's Emily, and I've been a Shout volunteer for a year and a little bit now, and I first heard about Shout in 2019 was when I used the service.
So the reason I became a Shout volunteer is I actually lost my brother to suicide in 2018 when he was 15 years old, and I didn't really know much about mental health at the time. And over the last 5 years, I've tried to build my understanding of mental health. I've become a mental health campaigner and tried very hard to help the people that are in Sam's position. And I made the decision to join Shout because actually, for me, there is no greater way of having impact in someone's life than being on the end of the phone when they need it. To be part of a service who can provide support to anyone, anywhere, no matter what they're going through, and potentially save their life. It's an incredible thing.
Amazing.
How about you?
So I chose to volunteer for Shout because a few years ago I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I was living at university in a really busy student hall, and I remember there were loads of people around me, but I just felt so incredibly alone with this news that I had bipolar. And it was suggested to me that Shout was a charity that I could reach out to, and I realised it was a text-based service. So I kind of felt confident enough to just send that first text message. And then I got a ping back a few minutes later, and I was like, someone's there, someone's actually listening to me. And I had an amazing conversation with a volunteer all about how I was feeling, kind of looking for ways forward. And I really left that conversation feeling like things could be okay and things were going to be okay. So I decided then that I wanted to give back to the community that helped me so much, and that's why I chose to become a Shout volunteer. Using the service, you know how much it can give back to people, and you know how important it is, so like kind of having that thrown on yourself that you're the one kind of texting back is kind of quite overwhelming at times, but I think the training you get just prepares you so well. For that it's fine in the end.
And for me, I know that there was this thought of, I'm not clinically trained. I've not got a degree in psychology, but actually the most important thing to have on Shout is empathy. And you don't need a degree to have empathy. You don't need a degree to say to someone, actually, you're going through a really bad, tough time at the moment, I'm here for you. You don't need a degree for that.
Exactly.
And we're always backed up by the clinical supervisor anyway, who does have that clinical experience. Purpose in life is such an important thing. You talk to people now and they feel like so hopeless and they don't know what they're doing and they don't feel like they can have impact, and everyone wants to volunteer but they don't have the time. Finding purpose in your life is really important, and logging on to Shout, taking a conversation, having some purpose, being there for someone in possibly the worst day of their life.
Yeah.
For me, that's purpose all over. You cannot find purpose that is anything nowhere near as close to as amazing as that.
There's something really kind of rewarding and special about you find someone in that really kind of dark, hopeless place, and through your conversation you start to explore with them, why they're feeling that way, things like that. And at the end of the conversation, hopefully they're feeling in a kind of cooler, calmer place. And I think, like you're saying about purpose, like it means so much to the volunteer to be able to do that. So I think it's amazing to be able to give back in that way.
The training was fantastic. I think I went into training obviously with a little bit of knowledge around mental health anyway, but you wouldn't need that. All you need is empathy and a want to actually listen to people and care about people. The training handles the rest, and it will tell you what to say. It tells you how to go about this conversation. It tells you exactly how you can take someone in no matter what circumstance they're in, from that moment of crisis, of panic, of everything's going wrong, I can't deal with anything, to a moment where they're like, actually, you know what, I'm just going to take it step by step.
Yeah.
And all you need to start training is the passion for wanting to help whoever comes into that room and whoever texts in.
The training was incredibly comprehensive, and you have like conversation simulators, so you can literally practice having that like conversation with someone, and then you get feedback from a coach on that, and you might have to do it again or you might not. It was really enjoyable actually. Like I think I learned a lot out of it. I learned how to listen like actively, like you were kind of saying, and like be able to apply that to any situation, not just on the platform, is amazing really.
Yeah.
So I think the things I've learned from Shout volunteering that I apply to my own life are, I think I'm kinder to myself. I think a lot of the time we are quite harsh on ourselves, we're not doing enough. So I think learning to be kind to yourself and actually recognise what you have kind of achieved and what you have done is like, well, for me that was like quite a big step. So if someone was thinking about being a Shout volunteer but had a few hesitations, I'd basically say, look at us two, like we've both had hesitations, we've both had reasons why, you know, we think we might not be able to do it or we might not be able to give back. But I think just go for it, honestly. Like the confidence you gain through the training, the confidence you gain on the platform, the community you've got around you, you know, your supervisors, your coaches, your other volunteers, is just absolutely incredible. So don't hold back thinking you're going to be on your own, because you're literally never on your own with this at all. I think as well, like it's really good how on Shout, if you have a conversation where you're find it a bit more difficult, there's like a survey afterwards, and you can basically say if you're feeling good, like okay or not good, and you can reach out to obviously your supervisor or they'll get in contact with you to discuss that. So I think in terms of like self-care, the platform and everybody is there to support you as well, so it's not just kind of yourself, like literally everyone's there to support you.
Naturally, we're going to have difficult conversations about difficult topics. That's going to happen. This is the nature of the crisis support service that we offer.
Exactly.
But the fact that this my supervisor got in contact with my coach then got in contact with me to check up on me, even though I reported that I was good, it just says everything you need to know about the level of support for volunteers.
Yeah.
I told them I was okay, and they still followed up and checked that I was okay.
So I think for me, being a Shout volunteer has helped my mental health, because it's made me more empathetic with people. It's made me able to listen, and like I just said, not just surface level listen to people, like really try and understand what people are going through. And I think it's definitely made me kind of less anxious when dealing with like day-to-day things, and like if my friends come to me for like, you know, advice or they're having a tough time, I kind of feel more equipped to actually say the right things and listen and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely helped my mental health. What about you?
You know, I had real concerns going into this that what I'd been through would be triggering, and I'd find it really hard on my own mental health having conversations with people in this situation. But actually, it's gone the absolute other way. I lost my brother at a very young age. He was 15, and there was nothing I could have done because I had no idea what he was going through. And I often think, like, what would have happened if he texted in to Shout? And I've spoken to people that have been in Sam's position, and because they texted in to Shout, and because I was there to talk to them, they've survived. Now, in a very general sense, in terms of my life, I will never forget the conversation I've had with that person that, unlike Sam, survived. And they survived because of something I did. And actually something deep down in me almost needed to do that, because of how I felt about what happened with Sam. And actually that in itself, just one conversation out of the many, many, many conversations I've had, just I will never forget. And it makes me smile all the time. It makes me smile all the time thinking about the impact that we can have. What I would say is, if you are considering being a Shout volunteer, then you are the perfect candidate to become a Shout volunteer. You don't need any other qualifications other than wanting to be a Shout volunteer. If you've been on the website and looked, you're the right person to be there, right? If you have any interest, then do it. But do it knowing that you're going to be supported. Do it knowing that we're going to give you the training. Do it knowing that you don't have to come with clinical qualifications. But please, please, please do it. We're on the platform. We see how much this is needed.
I would definitely recommend volunteering to others. So I think you learn so many skills, and we've touched on it a lot, but you learn really how to listen to people, and it is that importance of not just kind of, I hear you, it's no, like, seriously, I'm listening and I'm here to support you, that, and you take that into your own life, which is amazing. And I think you get so much support with Shout and through Shout that it's a no-brainer, really.
Amazing people. Shout out to the Shout volunteers that I imagine very regularly making lives a lot better, and of course saving lives as well. So big thanks for everything that you do. And like they said in that video there, if you're watching this thinking, maybe I could do it, you should go check it out on the website and maybe get involved yourself. You, however, I don't know what you did. That was crazy. How did you manage to do that?
I think it's muscle memory. I've not played that game in like 2-3 years now, properly anyway.
Yeah.
And thankfully, because it's like a new account, I was able to play against new people as well. And,
yeah.
It's a shame the guy I was talking to, he couldn't do the same. But as a duo, we're able to talk it out and still walk away with the crown, which is awesome.
Super impressive. But it was like it also felt like you were relaxed in there. It's like you were really enjoying yourself.
Yeah. Well, I've spoken. So we did a little warm up beforehand, and we had already had a little session who I didn't realise who he was, and he was asking me questions about my life, and I was like, nice little practice for when we actually get round to it. And it turns out it was actually the same person who I'd be doing my gaming with today. So we talked about it. I felt like I've known him most of my life now. yeah, it's good.
Well, Stevie and Jae are going to be having their sessions soon as well. But Jack, you've been watching as well. Are you excited for it?
Yeah, I'm excited to chat. I'm not as good a gamer as Bateson, but I'll definitely give it a go. Looking forward to it. I actually had some therapy sessions a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Was really beneficial. It was also beneficial to know when I'd gotten enough from it as well. Like, that's the thing with these kind of sessions. You're not locked into anything full time, are you? You can sort of dip in and out. That was something I was worried about. Like, if I start feeling better, do I have to keep going to this person? Am I going to offend them if I stop?
Yeah.
But it's just not the case at all. They're there for you, aren't they? So,
yeah, I guess you stop when you feel there is no right time, because I don't think there's some like secret answer as to what the answer to happiness or life or a relaxed state of mind is. But there are just times where you're, I guess, a little bit more at peace with it all. And you feel like you don't need it as much, right?
Yeah, and there'll be times when perhaps I do need it again. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, we were talking before about older generations not necessarily understanding mental health as much.
Yeah.
I remember when I told my my granddad, who's like my best mate, that I was having therapy sessions, and he thought that was like, my life must be falling apart. That's not always the way, is it? Like, sometimes our problems can be big, can be small, and therapy's nothing to be ashamed of. So I'm going to try and educate my granddad as much as we're hoping to educate the next generation as well.
Absolutely, love that. It's weird when you're serious.
Also, Stevie's a bit of a knob.
Speaking of which, let's get over to him now.
Thanks for that. That was really nice. I'm here with Carrie now. I'm going to pre-warn you before we get into this. I take this very seriously. I've just adjusted the arms on my chair so that I can have my controller in prime position, and I'm really upset that Bateson did as well as he did, because he's just won the whole thing and I'm going to be an embarrassment.
You're going to smash it. You're going to be amazing.
Oh, you're good at this already. You really made me feel at ease.
Thanks. So, Stevie, how are you? Oh, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I feel more pressure on the game now than I do this conversation. I said multiple times.
Good.
Yeah, I think that's almost helped me a little bit. I said downstairs quite a lot that I'm not good at serious talking.
Sure.
I really struggle with it.
Sure.
I do try to just keep myself within myself. But if I'm focusing on this, maybe you'll get something out of me. I will try my best. I'm probably the right person for this whole concept, if anything.
Sure. Well, we can try our best.
Well, it'll help if we could get a game, but we'll get in there. We'll get there.
So you said earlier that you use humour a lot, and humour is your thing, right? So how do you think that helps you when you're dealing with maybe quite a stressful time, or you're having problems with your mental health?
Well, when I say humour's my thing, I mean my version of humour. I don't necessarily know if other people are thinking it's funny, but I'm making myself laugh, which helps. I don't know. I think it helps me forget about things, and I can kind of block bad feelings out by trying to be funny or trying to distract myself with it. But I don't know if I use it as a crutch and try to hide behind it a little bit.
Sure. I think that's quite normal though. And to be honest, I mean, you do a lot of stuff on the podcast and stuff, and I have heard the podcast, and
I'm so sorry about that.
There's some really funny moments on it. So, I mean, in terms of how you find balance in your own mental well-being and doing the podcast, how do you find that?
I think I am getting so distracted by the game. I was listening. Yeah, I think I'm fairly good at it. Like, I kind of just live my life day to day and try not to let things get on top of me too much. Obviously, that's not always the easiest thing, but we've been so busy lately that it's almost haven't had too much time to even stop and think at the moment, which it sounds like, to me, that's quite a nice thing, but I know it's probably not the healthiest way to go through life.
Sure. So in terms of being busy, does that usually have like a negative effect on you, or...
Sorry, I came second. I smashed that.
Or do you feel like that kind of doesn't bother you when you don't have much time to think?
I think I kind of prefer being busy. I'm really, really good. Look at that, you've smashed it as well. I'm quite good at sticking to a routine, and I find I go a little bit stir crazy if I'm stuck in doing nothing. So even on, like, if I have a day off, I can't just stay in for a whole day. If I sit in my house all day, I will hate it.
Really?
So I quite like being distracted and doing things at all times if possible.
Cool. So is that where kind of gaming comes into this for you?
Yeah, so that's a weird thing, is like I find I can't just sit in my house all day, but if my mate messages me and suddenly he's like, oh, do you want to play a little bit of Rocket League? I will just happily go and play for 2 hours, and I'll forget that I even wanted to leave the house. So it's a really, really good distraction.
And I suppose, like, when you're playing these games, and I'm assuming, like, chatting to mates and stuff, do you find that you're more open about how you feel if you're kind of struggling with things or a little bit overwhelmed?
Yeah, it definitely can be. I guess it can also depend on, like, who the mate is, because I don't know if other people are like it, but you've got certain friends that you'll talk about certain things with, and then some you might not feel that comfortable with. But you definitely do get distracted by gaming and playing. Depends on how frustrated you get, though, because I am, if anything, I'm getting in a bad mood at the moment because of this game. But no, it definitely is really beneficial, and I think this whole thing at Shout is such a great idea, and I can understand why people would be more willing to talk during that. He's qualified again. Gee, you're meant to be going into the yellow bar.
But yeah, no, it's good. It's good to have a distraction. I think sometimes if you're someone who's not used to talking about how you feel, or if you feel kind of quite overwhelmed, being a little bit vulnerable, sometimes having something like a game in the background or something that's, you know, fun, it is a good way of kind of deflecting some of that.
Yeah, I don't know if I think I kind of live life deflecting, which I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, but it seems to work for me, so I don't really look too much into it. I'm kind of just like, I'll deal with it, and it's fine, and we'll all be okay. But yeah, gaming's definitely a great... Oh, he smashed that again. Let's just keep going. Oh, I've fallen. Yeah, gaming's definitely a great way of kind of combating that and being able to distract myself. Oh, I'm not good at this. Oh, they're all going to complete it. Yeah, I completely forgot where I was going with it. But yeah, I guess the only issue sometimes is I will play games that potentially... Oh, what am I doing? Potentially make my mood worse.
Sure.
Like this could do in a second, because as I said, so much pressure after what Bateson's just done.
You're doing great. You're doing great. I mean, you're doing better than me, so...
I'm really scared these little beans are going to beat me. Don't push me! Come on, one of you's got to go. One of you's got to risk it. Oh, here we go. Let's go backwards. Yeah, Stevie smashed it. Stevie smashed it. You idiot.
So I suppose, like, how does it feel today to kind of sit here and have a conversation about, I suppose, even just acknowledging your own mental health, kind of openly like this? Is this something that you wouldn't usually do?
Oh, no, not at all. Like, it's so unusual for me. I'm normally quite happy to sit and speak to other people about theirs, but I don't know what it is, why I feel so uncomfortable doing it. I think it's because nobody really knows me as someone who speaks openly about things, so I think it would be a bit of a curveball for friends and whatnot to suddenly be like, oh, why is he speaking like this? So I don't really let that side of me be seen.
Sure. So how do you feel about this being on a live stream today?
It's okay. It's obviously scary, but there's a lot of stuff that could obviously go way deeper. You can exit and then we'll go again quickly. They never saw that bit. We go again, we start again, and then we win the next one. And Bateson's going to be fuming. I think it's absolutely fine because there's obviously limits to what I'd feel comfortable saying and whatnot. But then that's probably stuff that should be spoken about. But
sure. So if someone was watching this now, for example, and they really struggle to speak to other people and be a little bit vulnerable about how they feel, and you're kind of, out of your comfort zone today talking about this, what would you say to them? What would you recommend to them after this experience today?
I'd say this is definitely a better way about going about it all, especially if you enjoy gaming, because it's weird because I'm almost talking without thinking about it because I'm so focused on what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of saying stuff, and I'm not trying to hide behind humour, and I'm not trying to deflect anything. I'm just speaking, getting a little bit annoyed at this, but still being open enough to reply to what you're asking me.
Sure. Okay. So it sounds like it's been helpful.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'd definitely recommend it to people who can be like. I'd recommend it to anyone, but if there are people who are a bit like me, where they struggle to be open about things, it's such a great way to kind of distract your mind from it, but also get the help you might need.
Yeah, and I guess that's a bit like our service, right? With Shout, is that because it's a text message service.
Yes.
Potentially, I mean, you don't have to be good at talking. You don't have to be good at starting a conversation because you've got someone there who will do it. And it doesn't matter your background or who you are, what age you are, what gender you are. Someone's going to pick up that message and respond to you in a way that you need. So I think that's the beauty of the service.
Knowing someone's there for you is obviously half the battle as well. Like, some of us are fortunate enough to have friends that you feel comfortable enough around to have those conversations, but not everybody is in that position.
No.
So just having that as such an easy way of doing it as well with just sending a text, it's obviously a great service. And also, again, absolutely smash that.
I'm still trying to jump on this green thing.
You've got this. I believe in you. I feel like I need to be here for you now as well.
Thank you.
How is this game making you feel?
A little bit stressed.
See?
I'm not probably pro gamer level by any means, but I think what's good about not being good at a game is that it makes it fun.
I've never felt that.
Oh, I have.
I'm far too competitive. I think when Jack comes up here, I think you'll be speaking to Jack as well. I'm sure you'll get a different kind of conversation with him, and I'm sure he'll mention the fact that I care way too much about things that I shouldn't.
Well, it's really easy to do that and care about things that maybe we invest too much time on for the wrong reasons. So I suppose just being aware of it is a good step.
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware of it. I don't know if I'll do anything about it, because I do enjoy the moments that I'm doing it. It's just, I shouldn't let myself get so pent up about it.
Sure. Do you think talking today has changed your opinion on maybe talking to others about how you're doing a little bit more?
Yeah, I think as long as there's a situation in which I don't have to think about it too much, I find it much easier. If you were just told me to go in a room and speak to someone now, just us in silence, just speaking, I would really, really struggle. So being able to have that option where it's something that I can also be distracted definitely helps, and I can see the benefits of that.
Sure. Are you watching me?
Yeah, sorry, and that means everyone else was watching you then as well, and it was painful, I'll be honest.
Oh no, sorry. Amazing.
It's okay, I'm through, we keep going, we keep moving.
Yeah.
I do feel bad that I'm just abandoning you.
It's fine.
The game's the game.
It's fine.
We don't know what the game is yet, it's taken a while.
No. We need like some suspenseful music.
We need something. Why is this taking so long?
I don't know.
See, now this is frustrating. I don't get angry when I play games.
Okay.
Okay, we're in. No, I don't get like genuinely angry, but like
Sure.
I just get those little bits of frustration. But it's nice to get that out sometimes because I hold everything in so much. Sometimes gaming can be my way just to be a bit like, oh, okay, I let that frustration out, and I'm happy me again.
Yeah, and interestingly, your podcast, you said when you were on tour, people were kind of doing like confessions and stuff, and like getting their kind of stuff that they hold to themselves out. What was that like?
Yeah, so when we took the podcast that we do on tour and we had like a confessions box, but it's because in episodes we have done confessions episodes, we've also done agony aunt episodes, so we're not qualified at all to help people with kind of their issues, but we have a really open and honest relationship with our audience,
Sure.
and they know way too much about us, if I'm completely honest. We kind of forget the cameras are there and we just talk way more than we should and let them in on absolutely everything. People are saying hello to me. So yeah, it's quite nice to have that relationship with them and know that they can be open and honest with us as well, and that they trust us to kind of take in the things that they say.
Sure.
Oh, go on, no, don't you dare.
I think as well with kind of situations where people are comfortable enough to open up to you. I mean, it's a bit like gaming on here, right? Is that sometimes, like I've seen in the gaming community as well, that people really do rely on each other and kind of lift each other up a little bit when they're feeling a bit overwhelmed.
Oh no, yes, we're through. Yeah, honestly, it's such a good place to be able to speak to people. And I think it is because of that. People don't realise sometimes they're just saying stuff without thinking because your mind is elsewhere, and it's such a great way to do it. And it's a place that guys feel really comfortable to talk to each other, especially where people could be like me, where they're not happy to just sit and talk to someone in a room on their own. He's done it again. He's through. I'm coming for you, Bateson. Oh, I think this might be the final as well. Come on, finish on a high.
Will you do it? Will you do it?
I'm going to need another one of these sessions if I don't. So. Oh, it is the final. I'm rubbish at this one as well. Oh, I'm going to let Bateson down.
You've got this. You've got this.
Thank you. I need all the support I can get here.
So I suppose, like in terms of today, when you heard about this event and you were asked to come, what was your initial reaction?
Well, I hadn't heard of it before, and as soon as I kind of read the brief on it all, I just thought it's such a great idea that it would have felt wrong for me not to get involved on it. And when we've shared it on our socials, we've already had some of our listeners and followers kind of saying that it's a great cause and it's definitely worth getting behind. So I'm just happy to be here, and I'm glad it's all going well so far.
Yes. And I suppose, like, if you have anything that you would like to share, like with maybe like your audience, especially thinking about the podcast, what do you think you would like to say to that audience?
I'd say, like, so the most open I've ever been anywhere is actually on the podcast, weirdly, where I've kind of opened up about some dark parts of my life, which I never thought I'd be able to do before. So our audience knows me more than most people do. And I'd say it was really beneficial for me then, just as this could be for them. So I'd say anyone out there who is struggling, it's definitely worth speaking to someone. He's messed it up. He's done it. He's lost it. Oh, second. Oh, Bateson's laughing. He's laughing at me. I can't hear him, but he's laughing at me. Oh.
So I suppose, like, on the podcast, when you do find yourself kind of talking about like these really dark and difficult moments, how does that feel for you in the moment? Do you notice that it's kind of a thing, or do you take time to process it afterwards?
Yeah, I think in the moment we do notice it, but it's weird because in that episode, as a specific kind of example, it was just me and Jack in that room together. So we've had enough chats before then to kind of know that we were comfortable having those chats. So it was quite nice to be able to do it then. But we got such a good reaction from our listeners as well that helps me know that, like, I don't know if the reason I hold back and I don't want to talk about emotion is because I get worried of how people will judge me on that, or how they might think. I don't know, like the typical thing is like people thinking I'm weak because of it. But the reaction to that was so good that it kind of helped know that's not the case.
Sure.
but I think that's all the time of everything
Yeah.
we've got. I'm so like pent up from that, but that was amazing. Thank you so much. I feel like I spoke way more than I expected to
No,
as
it
well.
was good,
So
it was good.
you've been great. Thank you so much,
You're
Carrie. And we're going to throw back to Iain downstairs.
Cheers, Stevie. He was absolutely fuming at the end there, wasn't he?
I'm buzzing. I'm happy that he had a good shout, but I'm buzzing that he didn't win that game because we would never hear the end of it.
When he fell, literally, he jumped up like West Ham had just scored. He was on his feet. You're still the champ. I know that's not why we're here.
No. There's no competitive edge to this, but honestly, for Stevie's first ever game of Fall Guys, he did quite well to make it to the final, no?
Has he told you that's his first ever game?
It looked like it was his first game.
He's going to need another session after this, isn't he? I just want to say as well, right, Shout is so easy to get in touch with. The number is so memorable. All you need to do is, if you want to text it, is 85258. Just up and down, just like that. So if you're ever feeling low, if you're ever feeling down, if you're ever feeling anything that you want to talk about, those are the numbers, up and down, easy. And also, it's worth saying, it is International Men's Day. And aside from us two, it's a young group, you know. You're 38, I'm 36, we're still young. Yeah. But mental health can affect anybody of any age. You know, you were talking about your dad, and you know, we're all talking about the older generation maybe not being as so much in touch. It's a sweeping statement. It's not always the case, but you know, your dad. You said just when we were off camera there that the first time he cried in a long time was when West Ham had a big win.
Yeah.
And you really enjoyed seeing that side of him, didn't you?
Yeah. I encouraged him that it was a good thing. It's a good thing to cry, and it doesn't matter whether it's sport that brings that out or gaming like today. Ultimately, it's a good thing.
How often do you open up, T, when it comes to like the true deep emotions on it? How regularly would you say per week?
Per week?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I want to really narrow this down.
Maybe once.
Yeah.
I might have like the odd deep conversation with like friends. We might just like have a catch up on like what we're doing, how we feel. But it's really not surface level, but like there's like a level between surface level and then it gets really, really deep, if you know what I'm trying to say. So
yeah,
it's like that middle ground sort of thing. I'll tell you, maybe I have that maybe once a week or once every fortnight. It kind of depends on everyone's mood or like what we're doing, because sometimes it will just like naturally spiral into that.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we'll be having a natural conversation and then it'll be like, how are you actually though? Do you know what I mean? Like you know how it gets with friends sometimes, but yeah, I'd say maybe like once a week. So it's not too bad.
That's healthy.
Yeah, it is. It makes a massive difference just to have people that like you can be open with. You can
trust,
share
innit?
do you know what I mean? And I think me personally, I feel like I'm quite an open person anyway. So it's very easy to kind of go back and forth with people that are as open as me. So
we've had some deep chats over time.
Literally. So it's very easy to go back and forth. And I think for me, when I was like younger, I think I was a bit closed off, and it's something that I've definitely worked on as time has gone on. So I definitely want to like keep pushing this initiative and help people be more open, you know, how they truly feel.
We talked about Bateson and Stevie's health journeys. You, I always see you on social media putting in like 5-10Ks all the time. What was the reasoning behind really getting involved with that? Because you're pretty much doing it on a daily basis, right?
Yeah, daily, mate. Trying to do it daily. I've always said that I'd like to do a marathon, so that's the end goal. But I mean, again, I know it might sound like a cliche, but the sort of mental clarity that exercise gives you is surreal. Like it's crazy. Like they call it the post runner's high, and that's genuinely like a thing, isn't it? Like, I feel so good after. And I, like Stevie was saying at the top of the show, when he was saying that in the gym his mind is clear and he can think straight. That's exactly how I am when I run. I suffer from OCD as well. I obsess over a lot of things and have a lot of compulsions. And when I'm running and when I'm playing football, that just sort of goes, which is a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that feeling when I go to Alton Towers.
Right.
Other ones available, you know. But do you know, like when I get to a theme park, every worry I've ever had from the moment I walk in to the moment I leave, just gone.
See, I'm the opposite. When I go to a theme park, I'm worried about everything.
Let's not go together then. No. Listen, he's always running 24/7, and Shout is the only 24/7 mental health chat line text line that you can get involved with, and that's what makes them truly special and accessible at all times if you need them. And here's a little bit more about how they work.
Are you feeling stressed, depressed, or struggling to cope? Shout is a free and confidential text messaging service for anyone in the UK who needs support. It's silent, anonymous, and available 24/7. To start a conversation, text the word SHOUT to 85258. You'll receive an automatic reply before being connected to one of our trained volunteers who will listen without judgment to how you're feeling. The Shout volunteer will introduce themselves and ask you to share what's on your mind. You might be feeling lonely or struggling with a relationship. Perhaps you're anxious about university or work, or you're having suicidal thoughts. Whatever's troubling you, Shout is here to listen. Conversations usually last between 45 and 60 minutes as you text back and forth with the volunteer. The goal is to help you reach a calm and safe place with a plan for how you will support yourself going forwards. Shout, here for you 24/7.
What else I think makes this, really special is that phone calls can be difficult. When you need to make a call and actually speak to somebody, it's a different environment, and you can be maybe a little bit nervous or anxious to actually talk. But do you think the somewhat anonymity of texting makes it easier?
Oh, definitely. It makes it easier for anyone to do it. And I look at things a little bit different. I've got 2 children. I've got a 12-year-old boy, which I'm going through a lot of emotional stuff with him at the moment.
Yeah.
Whether it be sports, school. He's worried about getting my hairline, which I think he definitely should be worried about as well. But he's not a talker, and I can tell. But when I message him or send him a WhatsApp, I get replies like "K," or "K" to every single thing. But he doesn't really speak on the phone or even in voice chats that often, even when playing games. So having that text open to him, it makes it better for everyone around that age.
Yeah, I think you're the only father out of us lot, but no, Stevie as well. Stevie, when he comes back, is a dad as well. But is it important for you to, I guess, lay the groundwork as a dad to make your kids feel like they can talk?
Oh yeah, I wish I'd have had it as well. Like when I was younger and I was doing an apprenticeship, I was working as a HGV mechanic, and that was primarily a male-dominated scene. Swearing, where some of my bad language comes from. You were seen as weak if you were getting any form of help, even if it was help during the work side of things. You were seen as weak that way. But it all does come out in bad ways. So learning it early is the best way, and that's some of the things I'm trying to get through to not only my 12-year-old lad, but also my 6-year-old girl. A lot more difficult with her though.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right, well, it's time to get back right into the action. Jay is standing by for his session.
Thank you, Ian. I'm here with Michael, and it's my turn. Let's see how this goes.
It's redemption. Yeah, I don't want to get scammed like last time, Jay. For the Bateson. Let's do this.
Let's get into it. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I played this game.
Oh, I'm not going to lie. I've heard that line before from that other young fella that tried to kid me on, but listen, I'm glad for you giving me some time, so thank you so much. It's really appreciated.
I'll try and adapt quickly.
So tell me, Jay, before we even get kicked off, what's your experience then of talking to people that you don't necessarily see eye to eye? You're not sat across someone's table. Tell me about your experiences you've had so far.
Speaking to people in general.
Yeah, and about stuff that that's important to you and about what's going on in your life. How easy is that for you?
It's definitely become easier since speaking to a camera, ironically. I don't know how I've become much better at speaking to people, but since creating content, I've been a lot more open about the person that I am, what I do every day, my habits, the things that I don't like, the things that I do like.
That's really interesting. You say it's become easier in front of a camera, whereas I'm sat here thinking my job's a lot harder because there's a camera over in that corner that I'm highly aware of. But that's really interesting that you say things got a bit easier for you doing it in front of a camera.
I'm trying not to scream.
So what is it do you think that's got easy? Is it the fact that you are speaking about whatever's important to you and there isn't anyone in there face to face, but you could just hide behind that lens?
Yeah, I think it's just how at first everyone's a bit uncomfortable with the fact that they're speaking to a camera. They just don't really know how to do it. But I think the fact that I'm constantly in a state of trying to put myself out there through content.
And is that something you find particularly easy to do, with being able to speak about something that might be important to you?
One more time, sorry.
Is that something you find particularly easy to do? If you're talking about something that's quite private and personal to you, is that quite easy for you to do?
Now, yes. Right. Absolutely. Before, it was definitely hard because I felt like I didn't have any right to bother people with my problems. But now I'm definitely a lot more open to.
So prior to you going in front of the camera and finding it a wee bit easier, what would you have done with stuff like that you found difficult to talk about? What would you have done in the past? Because I guess that's what we're interested in, isn't it? About how people connect with others if they don't find something particularly easy to do. I'd be interested in how you found it before you found the camera. Or where would you have taken all that?
Yeah, I think maybe just to the things that I like, and if we didn't really connect immediately, I would have struggled to hold a conversation. Yeah, so if we didn't see eye to eye on the first few topics, then...
And do you think that would have been more difficult if it was a difficult subject to talk about, or maybe about your thoughts, your feelings, or...
Yeah, absolutely, because if we can't connect about like just the normal stuff, then I was definitely a bit skeptical about speaking my mind.
It's almost like normal stuff that connects us on a foundational level. If we can get some trust and acknowledgement from that normal stuff, then we can start maybe opening up about, I've had a dodgy week, or I've had a terrible day, or or I'm being scammed on the Fall Guy, whatever you want to talk about, These things are difficult. And you say you use you make content. Do you? Oh, that was awful. Do you make content talking about your thoughts, feelings, behaviours, or is it more about your day-to-day gaming stuff, or do you ever use that?
So my content started with mainly just subjects that people are familiar with. So when I do anime content mainly,
right?
So when I see that people also relate to, I love anime, but I used to get bullied for it, I see a lot of value in that because we can relate, we can connect through that. And I find it a lot easier to then speak about what I went through because it's something I know for a fact other people also went through.
So that element of being bullied or experience of being bullied has been something that you've experienced, but then you found that using your content that's helped others. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, I mean that's really interesting, particularly for the people that you follow as well, isn't it? There's a lot to be said for, if it's happened to other people and they've got through that, and you're able to talk about it in a positive way.
Yeah.
Please don't tell me you've already finished this level. It took me a while to realise that the floor keeps disappearing. Then I need to follow people. That's why you do what you do, and possibly I do what I do. What's some of the stuff that you've come across on the content then that you thought might be quite useful to talk about, or you've reflected on to your followers? Is that something that you've seen? Have you seen anything that other people have put out and you want to connect with others about that?
I would say, I don't know if this answers your question, but how content is a big part of my life now, creating content. When a lot of people do want to create content also, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, or whatever it is, they always ask me my experiences with it.
Right.
And then how it's such a big part of my life, I just tell them, oh no, it's great, but you need to be willing to be ready to sacrifice, put a lot of time into it, because, having the numbers is great, and I know 1 million sounds better than 100, but you got to work a lot harder for the views. You got to sacrifice a lot. So I just end up telling people the real side to things.
And I'm interested, Jay, about what's that like? Do you have to have some sort of robustness then from an emotional health and well-being point of view then to be able to take some of the, I'm guessing not everything's positive, some of the comments, critiques that you get when you're in content? Is that something that you found quite easy to manage with? If you've experienced that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I became a lot more confident with myself. I think I've built a very good image of who I want to be, and I can see myself gradually becoming that person every day. So I feel a lot more comfortable speaking about the person that I am, because I know to myself that I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing.
Comfortableness and that confidence come about from touching it back to what we talked about earlier about being in front of the camera, learning a bit more about yourself, feeling quite free. You can be open and honest and talk to somebody who you wouldn't necessarily be sat with, like me. It's something you find a bit easier to do.
Yeah, you need to be transparent, in my opinion, once it comes to the content that you're making, to a degree, because even if you're playing a character or the content you make is scripted, there's an element of you in there,
right?
You know, so you have to show people who you are. And if people don't fall in love with who you are, you know, they feel a way about it, because everyone's got an opinion on the internet, you know, etc. But yeah, I just find it a lot easier to speak about who I am, just because of that camera.
It sounds a bit more like, so you can be a bit more vulnerable as well, because your vulnerability, you know, is very open and obvious there, isn't it? People see that, they can relate to you a bit more, maybe being as a human being. And I think where that ties in with what we to do with Shout is that we listen with compassion and respect and openness, and just be there as a pair of ears. Whereas you've got a camera, we've got a text machine to text people, and you're absolutely smashing this, aren't you? I mean, I'm trying. I'm still here, wriggling back, wriggling. Denied. Did I do that by saying you smashed it? I don't know what to say. I'm quite pleased. I'm not going to fib. I'm not going to lie. I'm quite pleased. But I was still sat here wiggling my controller thinking, I'm doing really well at this, and I'm not even playing. I'm sorry. You know he'll be absolutely howling downstairs, don't you?
Yeah, I can
he
hear
will
them.
be, won't he?
Yeah, I can hear them already. Aye.
Well, if you do need someone to talk to about this, if you just go in and text 85258 to Shout and say, I've just been talking to a clinician with very stylish hair and glasses, they know who you're talking about, my friend. They'll put you through anytime.
So that was my goal, but yeah, over to you, Ian.
That's a lot of shouts, isn't it? It's a lot of shouts.
Thank you, that's amazing.
No worries.
We love a lot of shouts.
We love a lot of shouts.
We're also part of the mix now, so everyone keeps going, oh, so the mix are in the mix. So, yeah.
Oh, well, apologies for that. What actually happened there is we were doing a bit of social media for Shout, the wonderful people at Shout. We took our headphones off, and then we got brought back on camera. It's your fault, Stevie.
Yeah, I just looked down and I saw myself all happy and smiley, so hopefully we were saying all right things.
Yeah, I think we said something nice. You were probably complimenting me, maybe.
Yeah, I was saying, that's why I'm sat next to you now. I just want to be near you at all times.
I want to give a shout out to Harry's as well, right? We've been talking a lot about Shout because they are wonderful, but you use Harry's to shave your head.
Yeah, well, a lot of people think that I'm bald not by choice, but I am bald by choice. Now, I use Harry's every 2 days, the shaving cream, and it is absolutely fantastic.
The shower gel, right? This is a mix of fruits and spices. Fig. Give that a sniff.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah, you should try having a shower. It is nice, though, isn't it?
Ooh, yeah.
That's good, isn't
nice.
it? Have a sniff of that. Lather that on your head. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
He knows
nice,
this.
actually, yeah.
That's his home scent. He
No,
knows
there's
it.
actually a lot of products there which I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, after this, this is definitely going to be ones I'll be slipping into my back pocket. Maybe some more.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks again to Harris and to Shout, of course. We just saw Jay up there having his session. There's only one more to go now. Your man Jack's in there. Do you think that we'll see him open up a little bit here? Because he's going to be competitive like you, isn't he?
Yeah, he can be, but I also think he cares about it a little bit less, the gaming side of things. But he's also way better than me about talking about his emotions and stuff on the podcast. He is the prime person for who says way more than they should. And let me tell you, our listeners know way too much about his life. I know too much about his life that I don't need to know. So up there, I'm sure he'll be saying plenty to carry, and he'll be enjoying it.
You're enjoying it, T?
Yeah, I'm having a great time, man. Having the time of my life.
Would you recommend, Bateson, after doing your session up there? Because like I said earlier on, if you're watching this at home and you're thinking, that is something that I could imagine doing, letting down the barriers and talking about my feelings playing video games, you can do it. The campaign is a real thing. It's not just for us here. Just go to the Shout website to see how you can get involved. Would you recommend it? Because the whole point of it, I guess, originally when we started talking about it was it's a distraction to be able to open up. Do you think it would work?
I think it definitely would. I'm going to be taking this back because I never knew about the initiative until I was asked to be involved in it. And now I am, and now I've understood it a lot more, especially the tech service of how easy that one is and the only 24/7 one. It's not only one which I can... I am going to offer Jack the chance if he wants to try it out. Go for it. There's no harm in trying. And obviously a place for people who try different ways and means of reaching out and trying to open up to people. Maybe that isn't the way, it's not working for them.
Yeah.
Maybe this could be the way that it is.
Yeah, and thinking about the tech service, and I know that T, you were talking a little bit earlier on, we both have, about finding the right moment to talk to somebody that either you trust or you love, or a friend, relative, whatever it is. Sometimes you don't want to bring your thoughts and feelings into, I guess, your family zone, your friendship zone. So sometimes I imagine, even for guys like us, who maybe have that person that we trust and we want to talk to, it'd be nice to use this service where there's no real connection. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I get what you're saying. I don't want to feel like a burden at times to certain people.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where I think this initiative is great, because being the ability to be anonymous makes it amazing, and just being able to, kind of express yourself without, I think Jack touched on it, no repercussions almost, and just being able to almost just be yourself, sort of let it out, but without having the sort of almost providing that, not trauma, but that vulnerability and that burden on another person. You don't really want to do that all the time. So I think there's definitely moments you want to, and there's moments you don't, and in those moments that you definitely don't, the initiative is great for that.
Yeah, you know what I mean, Stevie? It's like you get that release, but I guess without bringing it into your nearest and dearest right there and then.
Yeah, I think the text thing kind of hits home for me a lot as well, as you would have heard when I was up there, that I really struggle to be able to open up to people, and I don't know what it is. I find this discomfort in it, but the idea of just being able to send a message, it almost takes away the reality from it. Even though it's fully there, you can kind of take it away a little bit, and it will just be so much easier to speak to someone. And then with the gaming element of it, it helped me so much more as well. I was kind of just speaking without realising I was doing it, and then next thing I know, I've just told her everything about my life.
Do you ever think, just briefly before we go over to Jaackmaate, you guys, both of you, you've got a lot of experience streaming on EAFC and building a really strong community. Do you ever find you've got a responsibility in the way that people come to you as an escape as well, right? Because that's a privilege, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't realise it was actually a thing until lockdown. Because lockdown, I think, was a birth for a lot of people finding a platform. I touched on it upstairs as well. It was a case of you either went and watch Jae1ee in the morning, or you can watch Big Fat Bits on Twitch. So people decide to do the latter, but then you realise some of the topics which people were talking about wasn't the usual topic. It was a lot of lonely people who weren't surrounded by friends and family because of obviously the restrictions that are put in place. I was privileged enough to have 2 kids, even though I would have preferred to be in lockdown by myself, as we found out. But that was the position I think everyone realised. Actually, we are responsible. This is a place to help, and I think that's where the saying which I've got in my stream, it's okay not to be okay, and that's something which I still hammer home even now in 2024. And also, I need to point out, I'm 37. I'm not very good at maths.
Okay.
I think I said I was 38, but I got a bit too excited.
Oh, no, you're still in your prime then?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right, this is the moment you've been waiting for, Stevie. Can I get a drum roll on your knees, please? time to go over to Jack.
Hello. We're here. We've got the jelly beans up on the TV, and we're going to have a chat. I don't know if they're called jelly beans, it's Fall Guys. And also, I've been given a spinny chair, because I got my spinny chair privileges revoked on my podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, because I fidget a lot.
Okay.
But you're Carrie, right?
I am Carrie.
Carrie,
Hi, Jack.
it's a
Hi.
pleasure and a privilege.
It's a privilege too. So, Jack, tell me a little bit about your experience with, I suppose, talking about mental health and generally navigating that whole...
I used to be quite bad at it, to be honest. Like growing up, I used to bottle a lot of things up. I didn't have the best home life growing up, and it was actually on the podcast that I do with Stevie, who you spoke to earlier, where we first sort of opened up about things, really, which was weird because it's such a public forum to do that. So that was at first it was strange, but as I heard Stevie saying the same thing to you, that we got such great feedback from it, and it resonated with a lot of others out there, that it's kind of like we went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Sure.
And sort of dived in at the deep end. That's probably the extent of it.
So do you think having that kind of public place to talk about these things actually helped you to be more open about these things?
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I think it was just being super, super vulnerable and super out there. Just fast forwarded the whole process. It's not something I could have imagined I would have done at the start. God, it is hard to talk and game.
It
is. I was laughing at Stevie coming second in his game, but I think if I make top 50, it'll be good.
Yeah, it is strange though, because you don't really think about kind of what you're saying, and I suppose in the same like kind of way that you would pressurize yourself, right? If you were just kind of like, oh, I'm going to talk about my mental health. So
yeah, 100%. I think that's another reason. So like, if we swap out this gaming aspect for podding, I think that's why it helped me and Stevie open up, because even though we're like very close friends, it was having the fact that we were actually making a show at the time helped us forget that we were actually being quite vulnerable and open with each other. And I guess that's why this is such a great initiative, because not everyone has a pod, but most people can game. So, yeah.
So do you find yourself kind of, when you're not obviously using the podcast, do you find yourself kind of gaming and using that as a bit of an outlet?
Yeah, probably more so in recent years than growing up. I was never that into games, but I have found myself recently. Stevie streams, so we play a bit of Fortnite together and whatnot. Obviously, when he's streaming, it's harder to open up because there's people sort of listening live there, so live feedback, and it can be a little bit more intense. But definitely when we play personally, just me and him together, we'll have a little chat, and it is it's surprising how well you can get into stuff when you're preoccupied.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, do you find yourself reacting differently to live audiences versus kind of something recorded, like a podcast?
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, like we're very, very lucky with the amount of listens we get on our pod. Oh God, I don't know what I'm doing there. We're very, very lucky. But because say we get 100,000 people listening to an episode. If I try to envision those guys listening live, I think I'd be very much a closed book. So to just when I'm talking on the pod, I am just talking to Stevie, if that makes sense in my head. But Stevie, like he's been through quite a lot, and he's such a strong guy, and the way he's opened up and dealt with sort of his issues. I know everyone has their own issues, big and small, and I consider mine to thankfully be relatively small compared to what he's been through. But I'm sort of really proud of him, and yeah, I'm in awe of him a bit for how strong he's been, and that's helped me open up with my stuff.
Sure.
Although completely different, we all have our own stuff, right?
Sure. And I suppose that kind of connection that both you and Stevie have there of opening up and using that forum, I suppose, to work on your own stuff. I mean, how has that been in terms of like your friendship and your relationship together? Oh,
it's been great. It's never a job with him. It is just like mates hanging out, chatting. Yeah, it's strange. I think during the podcast, I don't think he'd mind me saying, but during the podcast, he's probably been through the worst times of his life, like while in the last 6 years where we've been doing the pod, and just if it's helped him even remotely, being able to talk to me, even if in a silly way, like you've seen our relationship, like we take the mick out of each other all the time, but it is wholeheartedly from a place of love. Like if there was any part of me that was saying the sort of things I say about him genuinely, then I wouldn't say them. I know I can say them because I have got his best interests at heart, and I know he has with me. So whether we have a pod or not, it's just so important to have someone that you can fully trust and open up to.
Sure. And I suppose thinking a bit about your listeners on the podcast, so if anyone kind of follows you and sees you on this stream today, and I asked Stevie a really similar question, like what kind of advice or what would you say to them following kind of being on this stream today?
Yeah, it's hard because it's like, if you're not somebody that tends to open up and can talk about your problems, I get why that it feels like an absolute mountain to climb originally, but it does get, once you do it once, it gets so much easier. So it is literally just getting over that first hump. And I'm not going to be on here today and lie and say, oh, it's super easy. Like it took me a long time to get to that stage, but now I've kind of broken down that sort of barrier. I can talk about my feelings a lot easier. So I just wish, like my advice to them would be that I wish I started talking about my feelings to my friends and my partner a lot sooner, because I could be reaping the rewards, if you know what I mean. And you do get huge
Nearly.
I'm gone. I think I'm gone. Oh.
You're still there.
Just. This is probably the best I've ever done on this game, by the way.
Oh. I mean, I'm out.
Get up. Oh, okay, right. Okay, you can... this is tense.
You're going.
Right, I'm still in. Just. Am I going to do better than Stevie? Probably not. He's a huge gamer, but... Yeah, it's... I've heard from the other guys that it's easier to talk when you're gaming. I'm finding I'm actually doing better. Oh, no, I'm gone! No, sorry. There we go. I'm happy with that. I'll take that. I've lost my train of thought there, but where were we? I've distracted you as well, haven't I?
Yeah. So, no, in terms of kind of opening up and wishing you would opened up to people earlier.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is tough, guys. It is. But once you do it once, you should find it's a bit of a snowball effect. Like. It might take you years and years and years of building up to break that barrier down the first time and talk to someone, and then you might go like a few months before you do it again, but then after a while you'll find the times between opening up shorter and shorter and shorter, and then it can become almost like a daily thing.
And I know Stevie also mentioned that like humour and stuff comes into your podcast quite a lot, and I've heard your podcast, I know it does, and he said something about like the live audiences and like the confession thing and stuff. I mean, how did that impact you, hearing people kind of feeling vulnerable enough to share their like weird and wonderful secrets with you?
Well, it's hard to answer that because with the live show and the confessions that they gave, the audience gave, a lot of those could obviously just be like jokes and stuff like that. That's not serious. But just to sort of twist your question ever so slightly, if you don't mind. When I've opened up to my friends about things that perhaps I'm struggling with and they've opened up to me, I've realised that even though our problems might not exactly be the same thing, we've all got stuff going on. And then I feel a lot more connected to like my group of lads when they've been able to open up to me. So I think it's as important, if not more important, to be there to listen to your friends as it is to sort of talk to them. Sure. Both things are obviously... obviously, both things are important, but I know I was guilty at that a few years ago, not necessarily being a listener.
Sure.
But yeah.
And I suppose also being able to have your friends there and you be that person for your friends as well must be quite nice, given, you know, that you get to do the podcast and talk, talk quite a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy. My job is so we do 2 shows a week. One's with a guest, so it's a notable person from the world of entertainment. And then the Monday show is probably my favourite strand of the podcast, and that's just literally me and my mates having a chat. So I'm very, very lucky. I'm blessed because my job is basically to have a therapy session once a week. I don't know where I'd be without that pod, and I know I'm coming from a very unique place here. Not everyone has a pod where they can just chat to their friends.
Sure.
But this is why things like this are good, because when you're gaming and you're on the headsets and you're in those lobbies, that is your own private podcast.
Yes.
You are doing that kind of stuff. So I genuinely can't stress enough how important it has been just to chat to my mates.
Sure. And I suppose on the podcast, I think maybe after today, do you feel like that's going to influence maybe your next shows, or do you feel like that's going to have an impact on what you do next on the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, we're often discussing mental health and stuff like that, and to go back to your previous question of humour, I think it's so important to. I personally, everyone uses humour in a different way. So just because Stevie and I have this relationship where we can make kind of like the worst jokes about each other, that doesn't mean everybody's comfortable for that. Everyone's got their own sort of boundaries and stuff. So if you've got friends that you're close to and you know you can gauge where that level is, where that line is, where the boundaries are, then use that to both of your advantage. Like make a joke. I always say, like, if you can't laugh at life will often laugh at you. So it's better to get on top of it. And and I've just been told that my hair's sticking up, which if you know me, you'd know I don't really care, mate. But I appreciate the advice.
Amazing.
This is a good game. I'm gutted. I couldn't win that last game. I'd have loved to rub that in Stevie's face.
Oh. Do you find that he said that he's quite competitive. Do you feel like you're equally as competitive?
Not really. I am competitive for sure, but he is the most competitive person I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
Oh no! I wasn't even looking. I was looking at the thing. No, okay, I am competitive. I'm fuming now.
Fuming.
Are you still in? Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I just got smacked.
I could stay here for hours and do this. Do you want to stay here for hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just do that.
We'll get the stream finished and we'll just carry on and chat.
Fantastic.
How are you doing in your life? How's your head?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, and I suppose in terms of that's actually a really good question, because I think when people think about mental health professionals, they kind of think like we just kind of carry on and kind of coast through life knowing everything, but actually, you know, it's as important for us to take care of ourselves as well.
Yeah.
And actually, it's a really important ethos that we have on the platform, because when our volunteers are talking to people, we always say to them, like, make sure you're thinking of your own mental health.
Right, this is it. It can affect everyone, can't it? So whether you're a YouTuber, a podcaster, a mental health expert, we all suffer with it, and it's good to chat about it. Anyway, that's enough about me, enough about these jelly beans. Let's go back to Iain in the studio with those beautiful eyes.
Oh, thank you. I'm with these jelly beans. Sorry. No, that was really cool to listen to, because one of the things I really picked up on there, guys, was Jack talking about being a good listener. And I think it's one thing, we've talked a lot about talking, but I do also think there's an onus on us all to make sure that we do pay attention and we're listening to people who also want to talk to us, Stevie.
Yeah, of course. And it's very beneficial for him to be a good listener with the job we do. So it's really handy. I saw how he started interviewing Carrie at the end there as well. So he really started to turn it around. That was lovely, because I was listening to everything he said, and it was the nicest he's ever been to me.
It was really nice. He's never nice to your face, though, is he?
No,
I'm kidding, he is.
But then he started saying my problems. Fair enough. He's doing my session for me at the same time, which is lovely.
Third-party therapy session. Yeah.
I got a lot out of it, so I'll take it.
Well, it is International Men's Day, and it's all about celebrating male role models, and I think we can all agree that you guys have been phenomenal role models here today, taking part in this. Who is your role model? I'm going to ask you. You right there, Bateson.
My role model?
Yep. I'll go first, The Rock.
Yeah, but we spend so much time together.
Right. So we're going down this route. Steve Austin.
What? Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Are you doing WWE?
Yeah.
We're only doing wrestlers.
Only wrestlers.
Only wrestlers. Yeah, okay.
The Undertaker.
Undertaker. John Cena.
No, have you got a role model, TN?
No.
It doesn't have to be a celeb. It can be anybody in your life.
I don't really think I have one. I think, not role model, but I think, obviously, it's a bit cliche, but as I was growing up, obviously, like, watching football and seeing Ronaldo in the Premier League and the stuff he was doing and the work ethic he was doing, like, I'd say growing up, he was probably my role model because I wanted to, like, emulate him. Like, I even tried to do spiky hair, and it doesn't work, but, like, I did the road sleeves, the white wrist tape, so all that sort of stuff, I would say, yeah, if there was anyone, it would probably be him. So yeah.
And yours is Jack.
That's just a weird answer from an Arsenal fan. That.
I
was so expecting you to say Thierry Henry.
No, I mean I love Thierry Henry, but just seeing Ronaldo, it was different. I don't know. Couldn't explain it.
Mine is Jack. Just every day I wake up and I think I get to work with that man.
This has been really cool. Shout out to Jack as well for taking part. He's sitting somewhere over there in the wings. And to Jay as well. You guys, thank you very much for coming out and getting involved with this. Big shout out to Harry's as well. Keeping you looking so sharp.
Yeah, well, hopefully, once I get back, I can sort my neck out.
I want you to give yourself a full Harry's treatment when you get in.
What? Get rid?
Full body.
Fuck. Might need some help with that.
Stream it as well. Also, if you do want to get in touch with Shout, then it's really simple. It's a text service, and the number is up and down, all right? You go 85258. That's the number. Send the text message if you are in need of it. And, of course, if you want to get part in an initiative like this, if you go to the Shout website as well, you can find out just how you can take part in this gaming initiative where you can speak to someone just like the ones that these guys have been speaking to and get your feelings out there. Any last words, Stevie?
I really enjoyed this.
It's been really good, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel much more open than I did coming in here.
Yeah?
And it's just lovely spending time with you boys.
Right back at you, Chief.
Yeah. T?
Yeah, had a great time. Proper open. I'm probably going to end up doing this again. It was good.
And finally, Bateson, what do you think? What are your last words on this show?
I absolutely loved today. A lot of fun. I don't feel like I've opened up in a long time, so it was nice to do so. And just remember, guys, it's okay not to be okay. And definitely check out more information about Shout as well.
What a perfect way to end. Thank you very much. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you again to Harry's and to Shout. Hopefully, we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.